Hello everyone and welcome to Spot the Differences. In today's video I'll show you guys the two pictures that we're going to try to find all the differences between, and then I'll go through them one by one and say these are the differences. We'll also be talking about why are there these differences. Okay, now let's quickly go back and forth. Bam. What's the biggest difference? Obviously, the biggest difference is that the child is different. It's a different baby, there's a different parent, and the kids also have different clothing. The most interesting thing about this is that we know that the child is going to have traits of the person that you choose to marry, but are they also going to have traits of ours? So we don't really know yet if our main character's traits are going to pass on to the child, but just judging from these two photos, it kind of looks like no. The second big difference is that the bed sheets are different. Right now, we don't know if A, we're going to get to choose our bed sheets, or B, your spouse just chooses the bed sheets and we have no say over it. The third big change is this bulletin board. In the first picture, there's no photos on the board. And in the second one, it looks like they have a few photos on the board. So I'm kind of curious to see what this means. It could be that it's like in Olive Town, where you have an album, and then you can choose which photos you have in that album. Or it could be like N64, where certain events will give you photos, and then you'll get those pictures on your board. So we don't know if it's based on your playthrough or if it's just something that you choose. Number 4 is that if you look at the window, it's very obvious that the lighting is different. So this one you could consider it 4 or 5, depending on how you want to count the differences, because the amount of light that's coming in through the window, it also makes the shadows different. So here, if I go back and forth, you can see that like the shadows under Takakura, they get bigger and smaller, and then you can also see like the window's reflection in the ground. And then the last difference that we can see is that Takakura, his head is in slightly different positions. It's not really all that interesting, but if I go back and forth between these two photos very quickly, I think it's something that's like really obvious, so I decided to add it in anyway. So yeah, those are the 5 main differences between these two photos. So as we were looking at those differences, I think it's really interesting to think about why do you think that these occur? So those are my questions for you guys. Number 1, do you think that any of our traits are going to pass on to our children? Number 2, do you think we're going to get to choose our bed sheets, or is that completely dependent on our spouse? Number 3, what's up with this bulletin board? Do you think it's going to be a photo album like in Olive Town where we choose them? Or do you think it's going to be like an N64 where we have to meet certain requirements and then bam, a photo appears? And the last question is, do you think there's any significance to either the lighting or the fact that Takakura's position is slightly different? So yeah, we really dove deep into these two photos. And I have some really exciting news that I'm about to share with everybody, but it's not quite ready just yet, so I'll just give you guys a little teaser of that. I have a friend who's in Japan at the moment, and he asked me if there was anything that I would like in Japan. So, of course, the first thing that came to my mind was this gigantic cow plushie that they have in Japan right now. So, I have sent him on a mission to obtain one. However, getting one of these is not as easy as you would think, so I'll have another video up probably next week about how to actually obtain one of these, and then I'll tell you guys whether he was able to obtain one or not. Thanks for sticking around. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.